powers to make laws, including laws on taxes. And when they make those laws, it binds both at the federal and at the state level. And you look at the concurrent list, it is where the state and the federal still has powers to make laws. Unfortunately, taxes fall within both the exclusive list and concurrent list. There are places that the state government would make laws as well as the federal government will make laws. Coming to the one that binds everyone. Every Nigerian, or everyone in Nigeria rather, who makes income should pay what we call the personal income tax. And
everyone.
There are a few exemptions when you look at the new tax laws. The new tax laws have exempted the armed forces from paying personal income tax. The justification the committee gave, the tax reform committee gave, was they labor so much and put in their life for the country. I'm sure almost all of us put in our lives for the country in one way or the other, but that's just it. So everyone should pay personal income tax. It binds everyone. For companies, you pay what you call the company income tax. That is taxed at 30%. However, the new tax laws have created so many exemptions for those who have formalized their businesses as a company. When I say company, I mean limited liability companies or public limited liability companies. So if you own a business name which ends in ventures, enterprises, service, and the rest, just a business name, you will not fall under that exemption that says you will not pay company income tax and capital gain tax if your annual turnover does not reach 100 million or below. Mind you, in some circles you will hear...
Sorry, or above you meant?
Yes.
100 million and above.
100 million and above, sorry. Mind you, in some circles you will hear that that exemption is pegged at the threshold of 50 million and below, because there is still some clarification that needs to be made. The Nigerian Tax Act, which will become operational in January 1st, 2026, has said it is 100 million, while 50 million rather. While the Nigerian Tax Administration Act, both laws were made at the same time, signed by the president at the same time, said it will now be 100 million. So we are waiting for the National Assembly and the Tax Reform Committee to give us that clarification on whether small businesses turnover is pegged at either 50 million or 100 million. But for now, bear in mind, I want to resolve this issue in favor of the masses. For now, bear in mind that if your gross turnover going into next year, when this clarification is made, is 100 million or below, and your fixed asset is not above 250 million, as a limited liability company, as a public limited liability company, you are not meant to pay company income tax, capital gains tax, and development levy of 4%. Thank you.
Is it clear? Is that part clear? You guys are quiet. Is that part clear? you should repeat that part again. So, if you have an LLC, a limited liability company, your annual gross is not above 100 million, your fixed assets are not above 250 million, you are exempt, right?
In a year.
In a year, you are exempt from company income tax, development levy
and capital gains tax.
Clear? Be writing no, so that you can come. So,
however, there are other taxes you would pay as a small company, even though you are exempt from these other three. If you have employees, you've employed more than 5 people, the law requires that you put them under the payee system. The payee system is a system of remitting personal income tax of your staff. So, when those individuals who work for you earn above 800,000 in a given year. So there is another exemption for individuals. Generally, everyone here, going into next year, if you earn 800,000 or below, the law says you should not pay any personal income tax.
Okay.
That is clear, right? So even if you earn 50 million in a year, the law will exempt your first 800,000 naira and then apply the other bands from 15%, 18%, 22%, and then 25% as the case may be.
Okay, so we'll come back to this. But before we do, by January 2026, whether I'm a career person, I have a job, or I'm a business person, what do I owe Enugu State government?
All right. Let me start by an individual, right, who earns personal income, whether you are a freelancer, whether you're a crypto trader, or other virtual asset, forest trader, it does not matter. The law requires everyone to pay personal income tax after applying the exemption of 800,000 for your first 800,000. And if you earn below 800,000, I'm just hoping no one here wants to earn below 800,000.
No, these people here don't earn below 800,000.
So this information is very important to you. Every one of us wants to earn more. So we should listen and know how this law applies to us. So if you earn above 800,000, the law requires that you will pay your taxes from 15%. If you earn a higher, the higher tax bands apply to you. And those taxes are paid to the Enugu State Internal Revenue Service because the basic law globally for taxes is that taxes are based on residence, what they call the residence rule. If you stay in a place for 183 days or more, you are required to pay taxes based on where you stay, not from where you come from. So if you're a foreigner and you are living in Nigeria and working in Nigeria, the law says you pay your personal income tax in the states where you're resident. So this law applies to everyone here. When you pay that, and you pay your development levy of 4% now, it used to be something very low, but it was...
Wait.
Yes.
So personal income earners will also pay development levy?
Yes.
Of 4%
yes.
of the income?
Yes.
If they earn
above
800,000?
Yes.
Okay, did you get that? So let's say you work with one bank, right? You earn 1.9 million naira. What he is saying is that there are two taxes that apply to you, payable to Enugu State. Is that correct?
Yes.
There is the personal income tax, then there is the development levy, 4% development levy. Personal income tax of 15% at that threshold. There is a place where the money reaches. Then it will change to 18%. So take note of these two obligations. That's what he's saying.
So apart from that, the first step is that the law requires you to register as a taxpayer by obtaining your taxpayer identification number. That's TIN. That's the one most of us have heard, that going into next year, if you don't have, there may be restrictions on accessing your money in your accounts. And it's not me that is doing it. It's at the federal government level. So just like you have your NIN, also get your TIN. And TIN is free of charge, absolutely. So you can start it yourself, generate a request ID, and send to either the State Internal Revenue Service or Federal Inland Revenue Service. From next year, Federal Inland Revenue Service will become Nigerian Revenue Service because they will be collecting more than just for the federal government. They will be collecting the money for immigration, customs, and other revenue generating bodies for the federation.
So when I have paid that personal income tax in Enugu State, I don't owe the federal anything. They won't come after me.
No, you're an individual. What binds you is the taxes you pay to the states. Those who pay to the federal government are companies. So the tax laws clearly specifies that companies are under the jurisdiction of the Nigerian Revenue Service. Right? Mm-hmm. Now, but individuals, any state where you are, where you live and work, that's it. Where you live, because there are nuances to this. You can live in one state and work in another state. So if you live in a state and work in another state, you pay your personal income tax in the state
where you live. Wahala. Okay, so I wanted to find out, now that this arrangement is like this, apart from these two obligations that the individual living in Enugu that you've mentioned now, is there any other thing that the individual
is owing?
That
one, you more or less, you don't have much authority on whether, more choice on whether or not you want to pay it. It is VAT. It's been there. It has not changed. So if you go into a shop, like, let me not name any names, any of the big supermarkets or grocery stores, and buy goods that are VATable, it automatically charges
included
you
in
VAT.
the money you're paying.
Yes. So if you do transactions above certain amounts, there is an electronic money levy. So those ones are normal. It's been happening. There's no additional burden of tax on you based on those ones.
So let's go to the business.
Yes.
What's the business owing in Enugu State?
Business, they owe plenty. So as a business, if you're a small business, you pay 36,000 naira as a presumptive minimum tax. And I'm not sure there will be any changes to that amount going into next year. So let's take it that it's still 36,000.
Okay.
So when you pay that 36,000, if you're in the market, right, it covers the personal income tax, it covers SWAMA, only in the market, please. It covers ENSA, that's the signage. If you have a little sign, there's a presumption that you have a little sign.
Okay.
Yes. It covers trade, that's Ministry of Trade for business premises.
Please be taking note of these things it covers, because
yes,
if an organization shows up in your shop or your store in the market and says we are from so and so, you need to know whether it's among all these things that see, this is Enugu State though, in case you didn't get it, right? This man is coming from the office of the Internal Revenue Service of Enugu State. So if an organization shows up and says you are owing us, and they are inside these organizations he's calling now, you know that you are not owing them. And if you provide your proof of payment of this 36,000, you don't owe those people. Does this make sense? Right.
So in the streets, there is a little disparity. So SWAMA was not involved in that consolidation. Therefore, you pay 30,000. SWAMA will still come back to you. If you're a very small shop, you might be charged 12,000 in a year. If you're a bigger, depending on the category of your business, you may pay higher. For those who own warehouses, they pay way higher than those who own certain small businesses,
shops,
even though they are operating in the same space, right? So a warehouse is by your side, you're selling provision shop, they may end up collecting just 12,000 for a particular year and be collecting 120,000 from the warehouse because there's an assumption that it generates more waste for them. It's a service-based revenue, right? So that's why their own is different. So apart from that, you're not required as a small business to pay any other thing as a small business. However,
can you categorize a small business? Is there any categorization? Is there any description, rather?
Well, in Enugu State, as it is right now, a small business is pegged as a business whose annual turnover does not exceed 10 million. Right? So when we find out that your small shop generates more money, there's annual turnover exceeding 10 million and above, then additional assessments will be given to you. Say, Oga or Madam, you've paid 36,000 as a small shop in the market, or as a small shop 30,000 in the street. We have found out that you are above this threshold. Please, the government has conducted an audit, so a preliminary audit on you. You have to pay more. They will give you additional assessment. You have the right of objection. You can say you don't earn as much as, and you bring proof.
Okay.
Right? If you bring proof, that amount may come down.
Okay.
So for
So as long
landlords,
as I don't get a demand notice from the government beyond the 36K that I have paid, I assume that I'm fine.
yeah, you assume that you're fine. But
Yes.
if you're a very honest and compliant person, you pay the appropriate tax.
Yeah, that is, from what you said now, it is the government that does the assessment
Sure.
and are telling me that I have crossed a threshold.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. So based on that, if I don't get a notification from the government in that regard,
Yes.
I assume that I'm fine.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. So as a landlord, there are taxes that are applied to your property. There's one called the land use charge. So the land use charge is graduated based on where the land is situated, the value of the land, and the size. So if you stay around Independence Layout and you're a landlord there because it's a highbrow area, you may be paying as high as 260-something thousand. But if you own a house in Ababa, you'll be paying as low as 30-something thousand. Somewhere in Ninth Mile, you'll be paying around 11 or 9,000. MN, 31,000.
Okay.
And it goes that way, right?
Land use charge.
Land use charge. If your house is tenanted, if you collect rents from people who stay in your house, then you earn income from it. It's a personal income. So there is what we call income tax on rent, because that is an investment that earns you income. You are going to pay personal income based on that. So you see some of our demand notices for tenanted houses. People will be asking, I've paid my land use charge. Why are you coming again? We say, you've earned income from this. Please pay the government tax based on that income you've earned.
So the land use charge is paid because you own property.
Yes.
No matter whether it is in use or not,
Whether
your
it's in
property
use,
is that you pay land use charge.
Yes, it's immaterial whether or not it's in use.
Good. So there's another one, which is if the property is tenanted,
Yes.
you have to pay. Is there a fixed percentage, or it depends on what it presents?
It's calculated just like your personal income is calculated. Right? So if, for now, the base for personal income tax is 7%, right? And there are no total exemptions apart from the allowable deductions that applies now. But going into next year, just like we've said before, you will, if you earn above 800,000, it will be calculated from 15%, 22%, and up.
Maybe.
Yes.
Is there anything else the business is owing in Enugu State government?
Is there anything else? No.
For now.
If your business is in the formal sector, because we've talked about small businesses which operate in the informal sector, then all these different agencies may start coming to you one after the other. But what we have done, seeing the success of consolidation in the informal sector, we now took it up to have what we call consolidated annual demand notice for all those fees, revenues, and taxes you're meant to pay in a year. We said, okay, fine. It helps a business to be more efficient if it knows upfront what it owes to the government. So we will give you a consolidated demand notice, which says you pay, if you own the property, you pay land use charge. It will go to Enugu State Internal Revenue Service. You pay ENSA fee for your signage. It goes to ENSA. Business premises, it goes to be. So everything is total. The one you pay to local government is also there, like capitation rates. I forgot to mention, for individuals, you also own a 1,000 naira capitation rate to local governments. My friend here is nodding because he represents a local government.
Uncle Mark.
Yes. Yes. So you pay that 1,000 naira. Everybody, every adult.
This is annual?
Yes, it is annual.
Okay.
Just 1,000. So for a business, you pay for all the people who work for you 1,000, just like you remit their payee. Right. So apart from that, there are Eswama will be there, and if you operate in a specialized area like health, you own a pharmacy.
So you're back to the formal sector now.
Yeah, formal sector. You own a pharmacy, health. The one you pay to the Ministry of Health will be there. If you operate in the education, you own a school, the one for Ministry of Education will be there. So you may approach the Enugu State Internal Revenue Service at the beginning of the year and say, tell me all the taxes and revenues I own to the state.
Okay.
And they will give you a demand notice for it. If it looks too high to you, you can come and say, this is too high, yo. Please, my business is not as profitable as. Look at my books to show. Okay. Look at the number of people who patronize me. Mm-hmm. And something may be done on your behalf. Thank you.
Okay. You see, we're just beginning the conversation. But we have come to the end of today's version of this conversation for want of time, because we have to wrap up and get ready for second service to come in. But our dad in the house has graciously said we need a bigger forum to have this conversation so that we can take as many questions as possible. So that's going to happen on Saturday by 9 a.m. This conversation is very important. If you want to clap, you can clap. It's a good place to clap. Because the implementation is going to be very serious. And you want to know where you stand and begin. The Bible says that a wise man sees trouble coming from afar. And he does what? He takes cover. And it is by knowledge that the just is delivered. So as much as Saturdays can be busy for many things, I encourage you to find time to come here on Saturday morning. And we are going to have a set. Okay, sure, you go if you come on Saturday.
Yes, yes, Saturday is free for me.
So we can have a more robust. I'm sure that questions are already burning in the hearts of some people. There are angles that you want to quickly clarify and say, but what of this side? Say, I'm seeing hands. But for want of time, we have to stop here. As a man under authority, I must follow the mandates that is given unto me. Thank you so much, Barrister.
Thank you, Pastor Francis.
Thank you so much. Okay, a round of applause for him, please. So we're looking forward to meeting again on Saturday by 9 a.m. And we're going to extend the conversation into many other things. They kept talking about something I think you should take note of, which is keeping your books. Keeping your books. Because I don't know where else you want to manufacture evidence that this is what is happening in your business. We're going to talk more about that on Saturday and how you can see to it that that is done. Please receive with me our dad in the house, Reverend Edwin Bayibo.
Praise God. Let's put our hands together for our resource persons. Amen. Please sit down. Just 2 minutes and then we're going to go ahead and pray. I know some of you are feeling dizzy and some of you are feeling very depressed. So, and that's not why we brought you to church. We brought you to church to be lifted. Because you're already depressed at home and what you're going through is already making you